Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Candidates for coming back. We are going to run this like we've run the other two. We'll do some questions that have been prearranged that each candidate can answer. We'll take an intermission after that, and you can write some questions on the cards. A few will be selected. The questions have to be questions that all the candidates can answer and not of a personal nature. And then we'll ask those questions and we get 2 minutes to respond to those. I'll read a bio for each candidate before we begin. For each section, we're going to start with the sheriff's candidates. So with that, I'll go through all of the candidates, just name them, and they can wave at you, and then we'll get started. So in the Middle County Sheriff's race, we have Ryan Funke, Wayne Cashman, and Gretchen Webb. And in the Mineral County Treasurer race, we have Mary Mueller and Jill Betts. And House District 14, we have Denley Loge, and we have Randy Mitchell. Randy is elected not to participate in the forum. He disagrees with the format of the forum, but he's here to participate when we do the 2-minute questions. We also have a few people that are running unopposed or appointed. Roman, I see you're either Roman Zylawy, County Commissioner. Roman, do you want to say a few words?
I can whenever you need.
Why don't you go ahead and use this time right now to just say a few words?
Brian?
Yeah, come on up.
I grew up just west of here at Sear on the old HR ranch at Sawmill Gulch, and went to school in this very little school through my years. Graduated in 1983. Back in the day when the several trains would run through here every day, and they had a switching yard out there, 9 switch sidetracks that were banging and crashing out our open windows. So I had a few summers when I worked in the woods, worked in Crawford logging, and we'd go work in the St. Joe and Sears and just stay up there in camp all week, and it was hard work. And then I ended up getting my dream job. I always liked helping people, and I always liked driving fast. So I got on with the highway patrol, and I got actually paid to help folks out. And I had 28 years then, and I was blessed with a steady and secure work. But all my friends that I left in the woods, they were often laid off. They would sometimes being scrapped for work while the logging job was held up in court or a sawmill closed. And so then I thought after 20 years I wanted to be a commissioner. I had great ideas 12 years ago to make things better for the working in the family man in Mineral County. And then I had to find out that it's not so easy just to be one commissioner and make changes in a county with only 7% private land and 82% forest, and the rest is fishing, game, wildlife management area. And I see that we need help networking and influencing people even higher than the county level, congressional level, etc. So the last 4 presidents of the Montana Association of Counties, which is all 56 counties, are president. They've been from Prairie County, Forsyth, Rosebud County, Sidney, Gibson County, Miles City, and Valley County Commissioner said I should think about running, and he wanted to nominate me, but he wanted me to agree before he did. So I did agree to do that, and I got elected to MACO, and which means I work represent all 56 counties in Helena, at the Governor's Conference, at the Western Interstate Regional West Conference, and of course in Washington, D.C., but I said I can't pay for that. Mineral County's too poor, but MACO will pay for it. MACO will pay for it. So I'm going to try to help continue the work, which I now realize can't be done just at the small little county level of 4,400 people. And I look forward to helping deal with our problems, whether it be the wolves, whether it be the grizzly bears. The East has the bison and the American Prairie Reserve and the sage grouse. And I just don't want Montana to become one great big national park. We still want to have places where all of us can live, grow, thrive, and raise our families. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. Next, we have Deborah Jackson, County Attorney. And Deborah to join us again tonight. So she'll come up and say a few words.
Good evening. Mineral County, I have to tell you, there is no place like home. This is home. Mineral County. You know, I started off in law, I'm going to cheat a little bit, over 40 years ago. I'm not going to tell you exactly how many. My dad had wanted me to be a legal secretary. And it's funny, years later, some brilliant English teacher in 4th grade had us all write a book. And I went back and I looked at that little book, and that little book showed that my dad wanted me to be a legal secretary, and I had written a chapter up. And I had totally forgotten about that. But I started out, as most people do in law. I went to college. I became a receptionist. I did the paralegal, legal assistant. I ended up in the Orange County District Attorney's Office in the homicide unit for over 13 years. So I know dead bodies when I see them. I may not know how big a fish is or what kind it is, but I do know a dead body. I ended up leaving Orange County as a prosecutor. I did 20-some years as a prosecutor there in Orange County. Then I came here, and I've been the deputy county attorney in Monroe County since then. And I love Monroe County. I love the values of it. I love going back a little bit in time where the values of people matter. And you wouldn't think that prosecutors care about people, but honestly, sometimes it's just like your children. People need correction to put them on the right route, on the right avenue. It has been interesting to watch people grow. You know, they may have done some time in jail, but I get letters every once in a while. Very few, but very once in a while. That's what makes it worth it all. And I love Monroe County, and I don't want our children having to hide in houses because of the criminal element out there. I think they should be able to live a life like we lived, free and open and unafraid, where they can run and have fun, and they don't have to hide behind the door. And so I am running for county attorney, and I thank you, Monroe County, for adopting me, because I really appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Now we will get going with the forum. I will start, like I said, with the sheriff's candidates. I'll read the bios and ask them to expand on it a little bit. Each question we ask in this first section, they'll get 4 minutes to respond. All right, so we're going to start with Ryan Funke, and I'll go ahead and read his bio. Ryan is 43 years old and was born and raised in Folsom, Montana. He has been a Montana resident his entire life. He graduated from Folsom High School in 1997. He worked as a sales associate and a department manager for Walmart for 5 years before deciding to further his passion for golf. He attended the Professional Golfers Career College in Temecula, California, continuing to work for Walmart full-time while attending college. He graduated in 2003 with an associate degree in golf course management. Ryan started his law enforcement career in 2008 as a deputy for the Lake County Sheriff's Office. He graduated from the Montana Law Enforcement Academy in 2009. He continued to receive law enforcement training throughout his tenure with the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Ryan learned the true importance of teamwork and as a result earned several life-saving and community awards. He worked for the Lake County Sheriff's Office until 2017. Ryan and his family have been coming to Middle County for over 25 years to recreate. When he and his wife decided to start their own family, they wanted to be in a small community. Naturally, they looked to Middle County. Ryan was hired by the Middle County Sheriff's Office in February of 2018 After buying a piece of land and several months of building, they finally had their forever home on the St. Regis River. He was promoted to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office approximately a year ago. Ryan is also Deputy Coroner, Field Training Officer, and Search and Rescue Liaison. He continues to be a patrol deputy as well. Community involvement has always been important to Ryan, so in his spare time, he assists with coaching the St. Regis girls basketball team and the St. Regis Tigers golf team. He loves cheering at the local high school games and continues his golf passion by participating in the men's league. Ryan, could you please take 4 minutes, up to 4 minutes, and expand a little bit on your professional background?
Can we take this thing out?
Yeah.
Good evening, Ryan Funk. I just want to thank everybody for showing up here. It's very important for not only us, but the community to get to know us and make an informed decision. So, as Andy said, I've been in law enforcement since 2008 when I was hired as a Lake County deputy in Lake County. So while in Lake County, you have several agencies, including the Confederate and Salish Kootenai tribes. With that is you learn how to work with several different agencies and be able to work as a team. As we're shorthanded here, they're shorthanded there, and so you got to learn to work as a team to get to share an accomplished goal. So while there, I worked with the Northwest Drug Task Force, the Tribal Task Force, Tribal Police, Polson Police, Ronan Police, St. Ignatius Police, and very closely with the Montana Highway Patrol. Drugs are a big problem in Lake County. Drugs are a big problem in Mineral County, and we have to come together and accomplish our goals. It's getting the streets as clean as we can possibly can. After 2 years of employment with Lake County, I was selected to be a field training officer and went to field training officer school in Helena. So with that I've been a field training officer since 2011. So everybody can do the math, about 11 years. I've trained 10, 20, 30 deputies. And with that we have to show them the ropes, we have to show them policy, we have to show them procedure. We have to show them the right way to do things when they do it wrong. Guide them down the path that we want to train. My big thing is community policing, getting the cops in the communities, getting to know the people in our communities, getting to know the needs of our community members. I've received my basic certificate, intermediate certificate, and I'm applying for my advanced certificate. I have the hours. It's kind of been a rat race since I've been employed here. I've also done leadership and management training at the Montana Law Enforcement Academy. So as Andy said also I've been the patrol sergeant for a year. With that I oversee the schedule, a lot of the patrol operations, the deputies, and the deputies lean on me to answer questions at all hours of the night. They lean on me because I'm very knowledgeable about MCA, very knowledgeable about the people, and when they call and ask about somebody, I probably know who they are and I probably know what they've done. So that's a giant thing for Mineral County. I've gone through drug recognition expert training in Arizona, and I was selected by the Montana Highway Patrol to do this. It's hundreds of hours of training, which were completed in Phoenix, Arizona. My father, I kind of said this in the last few, my father growing up was a city council member. His father growing up was a city council member. And I've been raised in front of leaders. I've watched my dad lead. I've watched people come to my dad and ask him questions and lean on him when he has was the one with answers. So I've come from a line of leaders, and I know how to lead by example. Loyalty and surrounding yourself around successful people is what I do. So thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Next, we have Gretchen Webb. Gretchen moved to Spirit in 2015. After 32 years in law enforcement, retired as a captain from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office in Florida. She was born in Michigan and in 1970 moved to Florida with her family. During high school, Gretchen became an accomplished tennis player and started her first law enforcement job as a part-time dispatcher. She went on to Indian River Community College on a tennis scholarship and continued to work part-time at the Stewart Police Department. Receiving her AA degree, Gretchen went on to Florida State and continued her education. While tennis went by the wayside and rugby took its place, Gretchen never wavered in her love for law enforcement. She received a bachelor's degree in criminology, specializing in criminal law. Gretchen moved to Palm Beach County, Florida, where she became a certified law enforcement officer. She held various assignments in the areas of organized crime, racketeering, narcotics investigations, tactical operation, field training, internal affairs, and more. As she was gaining experience and moving up in the ranks, then Sergeant Webb rewrote the field training program. This program became the nationally recognized model for other field training programs to follow. Never wanting to stop growing in knowledge, Gretchen took additional advanced classes and became an instructor at the police academy in multiple disciplines, including general law and high liability courses. For additional management training, Gretchen was sent to the University of Louisville Southern Police Institute Administrative Officers course. From her first promotion to sergeant, then lieutenant, and finally captain, Gretchen has been responsible for writing and managing budgets for each command assignment, supervise sworn and civilian personnel, manage and engage in tactical situations, and conduct major investigations. Upon her retirement, she continued to work as an instructor at the police academy for an additional 2 years. Now, Gretchen is bringing her experience, knowledge, and skills to Minot County. Gretchen, could you please take up to 4 minutes to share any additional background information, professional background information?
Okay, first I'd like to announce, I'm not used to being behind the speaker. First, I'd like to announce that I'm officially on the ballot for November in the general election. And I will be facing off against either Ryan or Wayne. So that hurdle has been jumped and we're ready to go. I did start my career in 1975 at the Stewart Police Department. It was a small department about the size of what Mineral County is right now. And I was a part-time dispatcher and had many experiences there. I absolutely loved the job. So I guess that's why I just kept on going. And that's where my education really started, where I actually, started in 1980 when I went through the police academy and attended all those basic courses. I then jumped into field training once I became a road patrol officer. I went on to organized crime and racketeering investigations, narcotics, street and smuggling, investigated cases with the DEA, FBI, where they sent us all over the world, and we were also able to travel up to New York and over to Arizona and follow the drug trafficking. So I do know how to reach out for other agencies for assistance in solving some of our narcotics issues, not all of them, just some of them. I continued on by developing my skills with the Special Response Team, which is SWAT, also as a hostage negotiator, and tactical investigations. Dignitary protection, I also performed, and I did that for Reagan and Bush 1 and 2. Internal affairs, I do believe there should be ethics. I did that for a little while, and during my time in internal affairs, I found the hardest investigations were of those people who I knew. But I will tackle that if I have to. It's a sad time when you have to do that. The other commands that I've done are watch and district commander. A watch commander in Palm Beach County, Florida, you're actually acting as the sheriff over everybody who's working that shift while you're on duty. That was over 200 people at one time. The district commander runs a unit, a district, just like you say. That's where you're doing your budget, you're doing your management, you're assigning people to cases, you're supervising the cases, anything that goes on, just like you were the sheriff of the county. The minimum amount of people that I supervised as a district commander was 100 deputies and civilian personnel. I also worked in training, and I felt it was very important. There was a few cases that I didn't like the way things went, and I got additional training. I went on for advanced training. I went on for instructor training. My instructor certificates include general law and liabilities, and liability is a big issue that I see here in Mineral County. Narcotics, I did firearms, baton, pursuit driving, handcuffing, defensive tactics, and OC spray. And I know there's a few others, but I can't remember, and we're at the 15-second mark, so I'm going to stop right there. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen. Finally, we have Wayne Cashman. The Cashman family relocated to Montana in 1990 after purchasing the 7-Up Ranch Supper Club in Lincoln, Montana. This was a family venture. Wayne joined the business after the family added a motel to the enterprise. Wayne then took a job at Montana State Prison to relieve his family's financial burden from the business after Highway 200 construction project severely curtailed the business's back-to-back summer income. In 1996, Wayne accepted a position with the Arizona Department of Corrections and relocated to Casa Grande, Arizona, after the sale of the motel in Lincoln. Wayne transitioned from corrections to sworn law enforcement officer as a patrol duty with the Pinal County Sheriff's Office in 2000. Wayne's career progression continued when he was promoted to patrol sergeant in 2007. Shortly after his promotion, Wayne was appointed to be the Carlotta or Central Arizona Regional Law Officer Training Academy, Sergeant Class number 201, until the class completed the academy and successfully graduated. Wayne was chosen by Sheriff Paul Babot to run the Sheriff's Office Professional Standards Unit, which consisted of 3 investigators, 2 voice stress analyzers, and 1 polygrapher. Wayne's assignment at Internal Affairs continued until 2011, when he was promoted to region lieutenant. He spent the next 9 years rotating command in all 4 patrol regions as the patrol support commander, where he maintained responsibility over the following units: K-9, traffic, motors, civil, community service, reserve, explorer, and fleet procurement unit, managing a procurement budget of over $1.5 million. Wayne retired from the Pinal County Sheriff's Office shortly after the loss of his wife of 25 years to cancer. He moved back home to Montana in July of 2020 to be closer to his daughter, granddaughter, and siblings who live in Missoula, Montana. Upon Wayne's return to Montana, he applied for the sheriff-appointed position in August of 2020, but was not selected. Wayne has been the undersheriff since August of 2020 and has been overseeing the day-to-day operations of the patrol and dispatch, and he played an integral role in getting the Mineral County Detention Center open for business and handling the day-to-day detention operations since the jail reopened in February of 2021. Wayne, take up to 4 minutes to expand on your professional background.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, folks. Thank you very much for coming. Hey, I've been very fortunate in my life. I joined the Army in '83 and did 3 years over in Germany, and came back, joined the family business. Like my bio said, we had 2 back-to-back summer. The restaurant in Lincoln, Montana is you make your hay in the summer, and we're closed through the winter. So we had a couple pretty rough summers due to highway construction, and I was looking for a way to take some pressure off our business. And I talked to a buddy of mine who used to work at Deer Lodge, and I said, look, I'll give it a shot. And went down and applied, and they hired me, and I was with them a short time, and like I said, timing's everything, and that was right about the time the FBI was looking for Ted Kaczynski in Lincoln, Montana, and they used our restaurant as their headquarters. So I got to spend a lot of time around FBI, which really kind of fueled my desire to be in law enforcement. So when we decided to sell the motel, that's when we decided to head south. We have my mom and stepdad live in Prescott, and my folks had a place down in Tucson. So we were there to help take care of the family. My late wife's family lived there as well. So we decided to move to Arizona. And I was fortunate enough to get into some good positions in the corrections industry there. And then they were going to do us, you had to rotate to different shifts, to different units. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to go back to a graveyard shift, I'm going to go see what the other side's like. And I decided at 38 to go to the police academy. Well, I made it through, and in 2000 I became a road deputy in Pinal County. Like my bio said, 7 years later I promoted to sergeant, 2011 lieutenant, and then 2019 I finally retired. Had no plans of coming back into law enforcement. Swore I was done working, and my folks had sold their condo in Superior. I told them, hey, I'll bring my trailer up. You can stay in the property until you find something. And I'm the one that ended up staying on the property because I found something. And so I've been number 2 at the Mineral County Sheriff's Office now for 18 months. We've tackled a lot of problems that we walked into in that agency in the time we've been there. And so when all this happened and the sheriff chose not to run, I decided that I was going to jump in to keep moving forward. So that's why I'm in this industry. This is why I'm standing here a little bit. We'll get into that more later in the program. But that's my background. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. We'll go ahead and continue with the questions. Ryan, we're back to you. What are the primary reasons you are running for this position?
So the primary reasons I'm running for this position is Mineral County, since I've been here, we've been very short-staffed. We've had one guy, when I was here, I worked nights by myself, 2-3 nights a week by myself. Officer safety is not a big thing. It wasn't a big thing. It wasn't looked at, like, hey, I'm sorry. It's like, you're the only one to work. So my thing is, I'm a lead by example guy. I'm not gonna ask my guys to do something that I wouldn't do myself. I'd go through the door first if we had to go inside of a house. That's how I want to teach these guys, is that I'm willing to do whatever I'm asking them to do. I've also received a ton of backing and encouragement from the county. I mean, it's literally blown me away. I've been out in the community. I've, ingrained me into the community, my wife into the community. We bought property. We built a house immediately. We're here to stay. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to retire here. We were blessed with a little kiddo. I wish everybody could meet him, but he's a little bit of a handful, and nobody did anything done at this forum. But Mineral County blessed me with that. We weren't able to have kids for quite a while, and we came here, found our forever home, and we were blessed with cash. That's my boy, not really money. So I want to better the community. I want to better the workplace. I want to make this place where we could draw people to. We don't get paid much, but if I was in this job for money, I wouldn't be in Mineral County. I'm here because I love this community. I think Andy said, I've been coming here 25 plus years. I mean, that doesn't count the 4.5 years that I've been here. I hunt here, I fish here, I have friends here. This is my community, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it better. I think since I've been here, we have several types of reserves. We have one reserve that can go out and cover shifts. I think we need to bring a reserve program back to where we have a lot of retired cops here. It's insane. The numbers would like blow you away. I bet we have 50 retired cops here. I'm not saying, everybody's ready to come back on the road and participate, but, we have one that works the courts. Maybe let's get 2 or 3 and take a little bit off that guy. We have one that's been doing some civil stuff for us. Let's have 2 or 3. Let's share the wealth. If there's young people that want to be reserves, let's get them reserved so it can take some stress off the guys that are on the road right now. 1 minute. I also want to bring the community into the hiring process. I mean, we need to listen to our people. They know what's going on. They have just as much buy-in as we do. We need to bring them in. We need to have them part of this because this is their community, and they need to be able to say, hey, I was part of that. That was pretty cool. But that's one of the biggest things. Also, let's make the sergeant a detective if we can. If we're full staff, 3 and 3, sheriff and undersheriff, have the sergeant be a detective where, if there's follow-up the next day that we work till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, he can go out and do the follow-up. Thank you. You scare me with the 15 seconds.
At least you went yell in 1 minute.
Thank you, Ryan. Gretchen, what are your primary reasons for running for this position?
I am retired. When I moved here in 2015, I watched the county and the sheriff's office struggle with keeping officers, the jail staying open. I also sadly say I watched victims and defendants struggle to prove their innocence or for the sheriff's office to prove their guilt. We need to improve upon that. We need to truly do an investigation. We need to go out there and teach evidence handling to our deputies, teach investigations to our deputies. We also need to have the reputation of the Mineral County Sheriff's Office come up. Right now, it's at a very low point. People need to trust the Sheriff's Office. We need to get out there and show them that we have earned their respect. We need to go out there and show them that we are capable of being their deputy sheriffs, of being their sheriff's office. With my experience and knowledge in law enforcement, especially with training and investigations, I can teach our current staff how to do a proper investigation. I will also teach and rewrite the field training program. It needs to be updated. We need to also write a realistic budget. Everything does come down to dollars and cents. We need to present a realistic budget to the county commissioners. And I won't sugarcoat it. They'll get what they get. We need more people. We need more staff. We need to come up to our existing levels. We need to reach out and get additional people in the sheriff's office. We need to reach out for the community's help. Deputies, police officers have never been able to do the job on their own. And if we don't have the respect of the people, we will not be able to do that job effectively. Over the years, I've also learned, especially when I was in internal affairs, you cannot play favorites. No matter what the investigation, if you've got to investigate a friend and they're guilty, you deal with it. You deal with it in your heart yourself, but you have to do what's right and take action against those people. Right now, Mineral County is suffering the pains of trial and error over the past few years. And right now, what Mineral County needs is experience. Experience counts, and I'm willing to give that experience to Mineral County. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen. Wayne, it's your turn. What are the primary reasons you are running for this position?
Well, like I said before, I put in for the sheriff's position back in August of 2020 when the current sheriff had resigned and the undersheriff retired. And, I had no ambition to really come back into law enforcement. But I spent many summers, vacations visiting my folks here in Mineral, and I like the town. I like the county. I like Superior. I like Alberton. I like this area. So when I got up here, I thought, I was only retired a few months, but I was getting bored, and I needed to do something I wasn't sitting down watching TV. So I threw my name in the hat. When the sheriff read my resume, he came to me and asked to be his number 2. I promised the sheriff that I would not run against him in this election because I felt that we needed to foster some trust between he and I because we didn't know each other. And I didn't feel that a relationship without being sure that he knew that I was not going to try to be plotting or planning and running behind his back, that we could make the correct decisions, hard decisions, and have some trust between us. So me running is kind of, I came into it last minute. The sheriff pulled out of it for some personal reasons, but I was too far invested in how we brought the department forward in the last 18 months. I mean, for you folks that were here, we were driving high patrol cars that were used from, for years. Our fleet ranged from 132,000 to 232,000 miles. We found a way, with the help of the supervisors, to be able to turn what the commissioners gave us was 1 new car a year. And we found some alternative financing, and we turned that 1 car a year into being able to buy 6 for the same, basically the same. We have 1 payment a year, and that pays for all 5 cars. The cars are paid off in 5 years. So we have our guys in cars that are reliable, and they don't have to worry about breaking down. Equipment was old and not functioning the way it should be. We waded through that and got that replaced. Our deputies were carrying their own sidearms, everything from 45s to 9 millimeters and in between, and we found the funds to get everybody into department weapons, so if we happen to get in a shooting, nobody's given up their personal weapon for years while it gets litigated. So once I learned that the sheriff wasn't going to run, I was at a crossroads. I had a decision to make, and I put a lot of time and thought into it and realized that, I want to see this through. I want to continue the journey that we've been on for the last 18 months in improving the agency and moving it up. So I threw my name in, and that's why I'm standing here in front of you, because I want to continue what we started 18 months ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. All right, Ryan, we are back to you. What local organizations or community involvement do you participate in, and what national memberships do you have?
Okay, so I am a member of the Trestle Creek Men's Golf League and have been for, I believe, all 4 years. I am an assistant basketball coach with the St. Regis Tigers, also an assistant golf coach with the St. Regis golf team. During my years, I've assisted, and even a couple years ago, put on the junior golf camp for all of Mineral County at Trestle Creek. All of these, when I say assistant, I don't get paid for any of this. This is just all my time donated. I'm an ex-golf professional, and so I contribute my time to help the kiddos out as much as I possibly can. I've also helped raised, and when I say helped raised, it takes more than one person to do this, guys. We've raised over $10,000 for search and rescue on several gun raffles, which I went out on my own time. I went to Lake County. I went everywhere I could to sell raffle tickets. So now my thing is that we need to look professional in this career. We need to look professional as search and rescue. When we go to searches, I want people to look at us and go, hey, that's Mineral County Search and Rescue. Holy cow, look at all their nice things. So I've helped that. I've coordinated with the fire department in St. Regis to do Christmas gifts in 2019 and hope to expand that. And expanding that is I want to try to start whether it be a deputies association or a sheriff's office association, so we can do Toys for Tots. So if people have baseball teams, we can give money for shirts, trophies. So the sheriff's office can contribute to the community. If the community needs us, we need to be there to be able to assist with the community. If we have a death within our ranks or an employee, we need to be able to buy flowers and say, hey, this is from us, we're sorry, we're here for you. I'm going to throw out a little thing for Mary Jo Berry before I forget, because this was my main mission of the night. And I'm going to put everybody on the spot, at least on this stand. There is a blood draw at the Superior Community 4-H building. She was sweating. Oh my goodness. It was almost like I was putting her in handcuffs. So on Thursday, May 12th, from 12 to 5:30, there's a blood draw at Superior Community 4-H building. And I'm going to ask everybody on this stage to contribute blood. This is very important. It's been important for a long time. I hate needles too. I hate them. However, this is very important for our community. I know several little kiddos that have to go in for blood transfusions a lot, and I'm looking at you guys. I want your blood. I've also helped split and stack firewood for a community member who lost their husband going into wintertime. Spent a day doing that. I'm in the community. I want to be in the community. I want to help. I've also went up on top of a mountain in the wintertime with my truck, my trailer, my side-by-side to save a lady who was running out of oxygen. Somebody told her to go up there and they were stuck, and she was bare bones oxygen, and myself and a search and rescue member went up there and saved her life. Thank you.
Same question to you, Gretchen. What organizations and community involvement do you participate in, and what national memberships do you have?
I'm not talking to you anymore, Ryan.
I have the sign-up sheet.
Yes, I like it.
All right, I'm going to get started now and answer my questions, sort of. I belong to the Professional Association of Diving Instructors, United States Carry Concealed Weapons Association, AAA, that's my favorite. I also belong to the International Association of Women Police. I'm a lifetime member with them. I help with the Helpline's Fall Bazaar, setting up, taking down, doing whatever they need. And I also help with Jackie's Flowers, and I'm very happy that Mother's Day weekend is all over with, because Saturday I was drenched by the end of the night. I like to help my neighbors out. I volunteer where it's needed. You dog for making me do blood. But I will sign up, Mary Jo. But right now I'd sort of like to go a little sideways here and recognize a few people out here in the audience. Mary Jo Berry, please stand up. Diana Doan, Jackie Callison with the Chamber, and Mary Furlong, who I don't know how she's going to put her picture on there. She's waving. But all these people, they were instrumental in getting this forum completed, and I just want to give you my personal thanks for allowing me to participate in it. And where's Andy?
He's over there.
Oh, there he is. And Andy, he's been great. Except for, I think it was in St. Regis. He said I was born in 1970. God bless you. Thank you. But I do like to help out my neighbors, my friends. If they need help, I am willing to jump in there. And I'm going to turn this over to Wayne. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have the accomplishments being here 18 months that my two running mates have. I've been spending a lot of time at the agency, and I've also been spending a lot of time catching up with my 5-year-old granddaughter down in Missoula as much as I can, because we were apart for most of her life. My national clubs is the NRA, and I'm also a member of the NSA, which is the National Sheriff's Association. And I think that I'll just give this to Gretchen now.
I think I
All right. Final question that I have for you guys, Ryan, goes back to you. What are the most important problems in this office? How do you plan on solving them?
Okay, I just want to start out saying I work a lot of hours. I work tirelessly hours. I get called out at all hours of the night. I answer the phone for my guys whenever they need me. I have a 3-year-old. Well, he's not quite 3. Let's not put that ahead of him. I take him out. This is how I've been spending my time with him. He loves signs, guys. He goes by, Daddy sign. He knows where they all are, because I've brought him with me. We've put up signs. We've gone and talked to people. He probably even knows a lot of people in this county. But that's very important to me, is family, and the sheriff's office is my family. Mineral County is my family. I would take the shirt off my back right now. It's a little sweaty because it's hot up here. But if you needed it, I would give it to you. That's just who I am. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this county better and make this county safer. Leadership, lead by example, boots on the ground. That's who I am. If I need to go on a call, I'll go on a call. If it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, may make the wife upset that my phone goes off, but I'm willing to jump out there. Employee retention is a giant thing. I think Gretchen hit on that. It's she previously stated $100,000 a year to retain, to have that person. Training, car, everything. It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money Mineral County doesn't have. Employee recognition. We've got to recognize our employees. Even a good job, you did a good job today, that goes a long ways. It goes a long way with my 3-year-old. It's the same thing. You give somebody a little bit of recognition, goes a long way and makes them work harder for you. Training's been an issue. Training's an issue in small agencies. Since I've been here, training's an issue because who's going to work when we're at training? Who's going to find people of Mineral County if we're at training? I work by myself sometimes. 12-hour shift. It's 3 or 4 days in a row. It's just me. I want training, but until we get this place full staffed and leaders who want to fill in, say, hey, Ryan, you're going to training. I'm going to cover your shifts. Or the reserve program. Get a reserve program to where a reserve can go and cover my shift. We need training. Absolutely need training. Equal treatment and equal application of standard and policies. You can't be nicer to one person than the other. Treat everybody the same, everybody across the board. I treat my friends all that way. So why not treat employees that way? I've been in Montana law for 14 years. Montana law. Okay? And that's very important because Montana law doesn't transfer to California law, doesn't transfer to any other law. It's specific to Montana. We have enhanced privacy in the state of Montana, and that's what I like. I can't just search your car roadside. If I took you to Florida, I could search your car roadside. So, communication. I mean, I was one of 2 coroners at one point for, I think, a period of 6 months. That kept me busy. We need to get full staffed. She's scaring me at the 15 seconds. We need to get full staffed, and we need to pass it around. Okay, we need to get other people being coroners rather than the patrol guys holding them up for 5, 6, 7 hours. Thank you.
Gretchen, what are the most important problems that you see in this office, and how do you plan on solving them?
The main problem with the Mineral County Sheriff's Office at this moment is management. And that's managing the evidence, that's managing the reports, that's managing their training, that's also managing the investigations, their tactics. They need to be taught how to manage or how to do investigations. They need to retain deputies. As he alluded to, it is $100,000 or more to hire a deputy in their first year. And that's from head to toe, their uniform, their education, sending them away to Helena to get trained. That's a lot of money to lose. And if we keep turning deputies over every 2 years, we're going to be losing, and we are losing, hundreds of thousands of dollars. The budget has to be realistic. We have to present something realistic to the county commissioners. Every budget I have managed, I have returned money back to my department. That's very important. If we're able to save a dime, it needs to come back to Mineral County. The other major problem is we're not going to Helena to ask them to change the laws, ask them to give us more money so that we're able to do our jobs better. That being said, I'm willing to reach out for other agencies if need be and have them come in and assist. I don't mind spending the federal money. I don't think you should mind that either. If they're able to come in and help us, then that's what I will ask them to do. Informal training. Because of my background, I will be able to give them informal training in tactics, informal training in report writing, informal training in something that's very important that people do not think about is courtroom behavior, courtroom testimony. If we don't get our act together and get our evidence together and our report writing together and present a good case to the county attorney, they can't prosecute properly. It's a team effort. Let's start acting like a team. I will be working with the representatives to get the laws changed. I will work with the representatives to bring money into this county. I will work with the representatives to introduce me to the right people in Helena so that we can work on bringing money back to Mineral County. Do I expect to do it all? No. I expect to get help from the Mineral County Sheriff's Office, the people within the Sheriff's Office. Once they've learned how to do these things, then I will expect it to be done right. Just like every citizen of Mineral County, they want the Sheriff's Office to function properly. If need be, I will follow the deputies around at first to find out their weaknesses. Am I at 15 seconds?
Not yet.
Okay. I will find out their weaknesses and design training for that. Community involvement, absolutely a big thing. Let's get our reserves, people who've been in law enforcement, up here to help us out. We do need help. We need to get this train on the, I'm at 15 seconds. We need to get this train back on the right track. Experience is what you need in Mineral County. Thank you.
Okay, let's bring this around to some current affairs or current history here. Right now, the Pinal County Sheriff's Office is sitting with one vacancy, and we have a new hire coming in on Wednesday. In my tenure, since we were here, when I walked into this back in August of 2020, the sheriff had resigned, the undersheriff retired, we had let 2 deputies go, and there were 4 deputies on the road. We got her down together, we got everybody hired. Since I've been involved with the sheriff's office, one employee is left on her own. She was a new hire, and she had some family. They chose to raise a family, so she left. We've had to get, we had some disciplinary issues with a couple that we had to let go, unfortunately. But for the most part, we've been fully staffed. And, you know, I keep hearing there's no training, there's no training, there's no training. Well, just last year, when was it, a year ago? We sent 3 of our deputies down to Desert Snow Introduction School for 3 days. So there is training. We've trained a dispatcher that was a coroner, and she's left. We've now trained a detention officer for a coroner. She just finished up here a week or 2 ago. All but one of our deputies right now, I believe, are coroners. And so there is training. We can find time. The problem is being fully staffed. You have to have people covering these shifts. You know, I've been dealing, the sheriff's been out for a significant amount of time. You know, he's had some bad things come his way. He lost his dad right when we started. He lost his mom a year later. He's been suffering some personal issues. So for the most part, I've been the patrol commander, I've been the detention jail commander, I've been over dispatch, and I too get phone calls all night long. And I get them from detention, I get them from dispatch, and I also get them from deputies. So I understand what Ryan's talking about. But you know what, that we're not desolate, we're not losing cases due to poor investigations. And you know, that's the journey that I want to continue that. I want to rebuild this so we have trained staff and to take this agency up to where it belongs. Thank you.
All right, we are going to move on to the Mineral County Treasurer and Mineral County Superintendent race. We have 2 candidates here. We'll start with Mary Mueller. I'll read her bio, and then she'll have an opportunity to expand on her professional background. Mary Christine Mueller grew up in the Missoula area. Mary and Mike chose to move to Mineral County 30 years ago to raise a family because of all Mineral County has to offer. Their 3 biological children graciously welcomed their 3 foster adopted children, the first 2 in 2004 and then again in 2008. They have raised them from infants. All 6 children have blessed their lives. Mary has welcomed partners of her 3 oldest children and is proud to welcome 2 grandchildren. Mary has always had a knack for numbers. After a few college accounting classes, she began a long career in bookkeeping. Her knowledge was obtained by offering to help coworkers with their work. This ambition progressed from her secretarial to AR, AP, and payroll duties in many industries, including construction, trucking, paper and pulp mills, lumber yards, and bark plants, to name a few. Mary landed a 16-year job at the school district, adding governmental accounting and school election administration duties. Her audits were clean every year, no findings. Mary has always worked multiple jobs, usually 1 40-hour per week, and additional jobs in the service industry totaling up to 60 or 70 hours a week. Mary's work in the service industry has always been exceptional due to the fact that she doesn't judge people and is trusting and gives everyone a chance. Her hobbies include attending her children's sports activities, hunting, gardening, to provide for the family, quilting, reading, softball, golfing, and playing at the lake. With that, Mary, can you expand on your professional background?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. As many of you probably know, I've worked a lot with the Alberton School District and St. Regis. I was the business manager of the Superior School District for 16 years. We balanced our books with the county, so now I'm in the office doing the opposite. balancing with each of the county schools. In my 16 years at the school district, I managed a $3 million between the general fund budget and miscellaneous budgeted funds. We also had budgeted funds, which you had to go by laws and rules for the transportation fund, bus depreciation fund, building reserve fund, food services, adult education services. As the business manager, we did the accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll, human resources for 50 plus employees, including a lot of substitutes. We refinanced the 1994 bonds with an overall lower percentage to help the community and the taxpayers. Financial duties were in compliance with governmental accounting business standards, and all duties were in compliance with state, federal, and local laws and reporting requirements. Then I moved on to the clerk and recorder's position in the courthouse, which included the county elections and county recordings and vital statistics. In our current office, we do vehicle renewals, property taxes, balance bank statements, assist the county superintendent of schools with those duties. We provide services to the Mineral County educators, anything that they need help with. And then I've also completed or assisted in completing the month-end procedures in our office. It's exciting to be on the other side and know exactly what the school districts do and what they need, so I can balance the opposite. I've also been called to work in places, Mountain West Bark Plant, working with Julie, Superior Color and Lumber, Quartz Logging, Verde Creek Trucking. And again, my audits, I was audited annually, and very positive results. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Our next candidate for the county treasurer and county superintendent is Jill Betts. Jill Betts was born in 1980 in Missoula, the only child of Ed Heppy. She grew up right here in Mineral County, Superior specifically, and graduated from high school in Superior. She attended college in Jamestown, North Dakota, where she worked toward a bachelor's degree in business management and information technology, and then began a long career with Walmart, where she held many different high-level positions within the organization. This is where she met her husband, Guy, in June of 2005, and got married in February of 2006. They have 2 kids, Eddie and Quentin. Walmart offered so many opportunities that took her and her family to many different places around the U.S. In 2014, she took a store manager position where she would solely be responsible for managing an $80 million budget and 300 plus associates for 6 years. In 2020, as a family, they decided that a work-life balance and family experiences were what they needed, so they decided to take a leap and move back to Mineral County. Jill took a tax and title clerk position in the Mineral County Treasurer's Office and also works as the Ace Hardware Manager at Darla's Quality Foods. They chose Superior for all that it has to offer recreationally, which is something they enjoyed when they came back for their yearly vacations. They also were ready for the smaller town setting and, of course, the people. When Jill is not working, she enjoys fishing, going to sporting events, floating the river, and playing cornhole. Should Jill be elected treasurer, superintendent of schools, she is committed to serving the community in this capacity, using her experiences and knowledge to manage the county and school finances. She looks forward to working with other elected officials and making this a wonderful place, like the wonderful place she grew up in, and even a better place. Jill, please take up to 4 minutes to add any additional information on your professional background.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. This has been, for me, a really super interesting experience. I've stood up in front of people and talked my whole entire career. 300 people look at you for advice, and standing in front of people that you have to talk about yourself is really difficult. So this has been quite the experience for me. So as Andy said in my bio, I've spent my pretty much my adult life at Walmart. I started there when I was in college and worked my way up through the company from an hourly associate all the way to an assistant manager, to a co-manager, to a store manager in 13 different stores that took us all over the United States, which gave us really good life experience and really made it home, want to be home. This gave me all sorts of managing experience and leadership skills and a lot of people skills. Got to know your audience for sure, and how you deal with each person when you're in a situation. It's really taught me a lot. In the treasurer's office, I just like Mary already stated, we do vehicle registrations, taxes, and all of that. And just like Mary, I also like it. It's a great place to work. It offers me work-life balance where I still get to spend time with my family, where Walmart didn't really offer that. Kind of like Ryan had touched on tonight, in the last forum I had talked about, pay, but, if I needed to get paid to be here, I probably would have a different job. I really enjoy Darlow's. I really enjoy Ace. Retail's kind of stuck in my blood and I love it. And this position gives me the opportunity to continue to do both, because I really do love doing both. It also allows me the freedom to get to know everybody in the county. Being away for 20 years, I come back and you see people, like Andy said, like your second grade teacher out in the crowd. People you've known since you were a kid that they don't even recognize you because they haven't seen you for so long. So anyways, that's what I'm back here to do. That's why I like it. That's my professional career has all been Walmart, and I'm really excited to try something different here in Mineral County. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Mary, what are the primary reasons you were running for this position?
So I love serving the public. Everyone in the whole county, from Lookout Pass to Petty Creek. I treat everyone the same, everyone fairly. I receive many notes of gratitude and no complaints. I'm great with numbers, and I love the bookkeeping aspect of the treasurer's office. Thank you.
Jill, go ahead.
I got it.
What are the primary reasons you're running for this position?
So I really wasn't going to run for this position at first. When Mary Arnold was starting to talk about retirement, I had a conversation with my husband, because I'm not really a political person. Like this forum, I really don't, it's not my thing. Like I said, it's a very uncomfortable thing for me to have to talk about myself. I'd rather do that, over a cup of coffee or, somewhere else where we're in a group where it's not so formal. But after that, we talked about it, and I'm qualified to do the position. So why wouldn't I try that out to give back to the community with the qualifications that I have? As far as that goes, I enjoy the office. We all get along in there. We all serve the public in the same way. The job is very similar, the same, and we learn every day. So whoever gets the position is going to be a learning experience anyway, because everything is all learned things that we already do, but we're still consistently learning. Montana law, like Ryan was talking about for motor vehicle, it's deep and in depth. It's not just as easy as registering your vehicle. There are things that we have to do to dig into that we learn every day from. But overall, I'm running because I have the knowledge and I have the experience, and I really would like to serve Mineral County in that way. So thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Mary, we're going to go to the last question. What are the most important problems in your office, and how do you plan on solving them?
So I would say, first of all, we're bound by the laws of Montana, And we do have a lot of people coming in to our county. Even people that have been here, I didn't know, exactly everything that goes on in our office before I worked there. We're bound by the laws, so we have to, if a customer is upset and we can or cannot accomplish their request, but you can compassionately tell them, these are the laws, maybe you could try this, we can try to work with them, and sometimes we just can't complete their request, or we need additional information. We do have a lot of people moving in. I say get them into our system, which will boost our economy, and welcome them into our community. Let's work with these people, everybody from out of state and from everywhere they're coming. I approach people, coworkers, as well as clients with a positive attitude. I feel the work environment is critical to the amount of work that can be accomplished. I'm very excited to work more closely with other department heads to understand goals and objectives of their jobs, which builds strong links between our departments. Thank you.
And Jill, what do you see as the most important problems in this office, and how do you plan on solving them?
Well, as I stated before, I feel like the office is pretty solid. I feel like we do a good job of serving the public now. But where I do feel, kind of as Maria's already said, there is an influx of people coming, and it came up at a commissioners meeting, it's come up in all the forums, and it's the main thing that we're talking about is proof of residency for these people that are coming, and that can be a very complicated thing to explain to them, especially in these subdivisions where they've purchased the property and the subdivisions haven't been approved, and they think that they can come in with their power bill or something with just one proof of residency and be able to claim residency here, and that's just not how the law is. So we have to, once again, explain to them and help them get that proof of residency. Just recently, we've worked very closely with the people that are at Shyrock. I've been trying to help Danielle get them some of the forms that they need to be able to make that transition a little bit smoother. And so I think that will help for sure. But we're going to have a very busy office here pretty soon, and I think that I'm ready for that challenge to be able to help those people get in here and settled and be happy Monroe County residents like all of us. So thanks. Sorry,
All right. Again, if you want to write down some questions for afterwards, they'll get 2 minutes to respond to the questions that are selected. We're going to move now into the last race, and that is House District 14. I will go ahead and introduce or read the bio for Denley Loge. Denley graduated from high school in St. Regis in 1968. After graduation, he attended the University of Montana and received a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Geography, certified in secondary education. During his college summers, besides helping run the family ranch, he began working on highway construction. This became his occupation, mostly in St. Regis and North County area, building Interstate 90, but also included one stint in Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, as an ice road trucker. In 1990, he began to purchase the family ranch and changed from private sector road construction to work for the Montana Highway Department on highway maintenance. He still continues to ranch in St. Regis and also has some timberland that he logs periodically. He is a hunter and a fisherman and can also be found singing in concerts or playing his trombone locally or in the University of Montana alumni band. He has spent his whole life participating on local boards and committees. Speaking of his whole life, he has actually been on the county planning board for 48 years. After his retirement from Montana Department of Transportation in 2015, he ran for the legislature in Helena for 3 terms and is running for his 4th and final term for the Montana House of Representatives, House District 14. Denley, take up to 4 minutes to expand on your professional background.
Well, thank you everyone for coming. My background, it was listed there in the summers while I was going to college. I worked construction. Prior to that, in high school days, I worked at the tree nursery up in Borgia, and I got an interest in growing the trees, and so I ended up partly in my career in construction, I also had Christmas trees and I had ornamental trees. And I also was the first recycling center in Mineral County back in the 90s. I started a recycling at my home, and I did that for about 3 years. And then there were a few other people that tried to step in. I stepped out, but I was doing that non-subsidized recycling. Part of the time when I was working construction, getting back to those construction days, I was a laborer, I was a grade setter, but I was also a superintendent of some of the jobs, depending on what the job was, sometimes a truck driver. But I took on all aspects of the job, and when problems would come up, one of the things working in the private sector, the owners of the companies and the superintendents wanted you to put the input. If you had some knowledge, some ideas, they wanted those ideas, and that made you the valuable employee. And I think I learned from that, because I was always looking for the solutions and also looking for a little bit of thinking outside the box, which led me to actually those trees and the recycling. When I went to work for the highway department, I ran into a little bit of a problem there, because they didn't always like those ideas. And I would sometimes get a little bit of trouble because I might have overstepped my bounds with the rules they had. But the new director in Helena just about a month ago told me that he had heard that I was the hero up around Lookout Pass when I was plowing snow, or the supervisor there, because maybe we did step outside the box because we had different conditions. We had to take care of the situation, but I would always take the blame if there was somebody that was going to get in trouble, and I feel like I've carried that on to the legislature. I don't always follow maybe the pattern that people think I should. I would rather take care of the problems that we have for Montana, and if something isn't quite accepted by everyone, I'll take that blame. That can rest on my shoulders, because if I'm making decisions, I'm going to live up to what I've done. And so I think through life, my whole background is solve problems, move forward at all times. Just keep going and do what you can to make the world a better place.
Thank you, Denley. Could you expand a little bit on what the primary reasons you're running for this position are?
Yeah, when I first filed for this, I was retiring from the highway department in 2015, and I was talking, Nick Schwatter was in the position. And the day before, it was the Sunday before the closing of filing, Nick said that he was going to be moving to England and was going to withdraw his name. And I thought Mineral County needed a candidate. There was a candidate already in the race from Sanders County, but I felt like I needed to get in the race. I'd been going to a lot of public meetings, participated in a lot of activities around the county, and I just felt that I had the pulse of the people. And Ryan didn't steal my line, I'm one of you. And that's what I thought was important. We need a legislator is a representative of the area, and to me that's the important part. Is I'm the representative of the area. I represent the needs of the people in the area, in the district. We're far different here than we are in eastern Montana, and sometimes I see legislators that don't necessarily represent their districts. They're representing thoughts of other people. Maybe a little group that they're attached to, and to me, it's representing the people of Mineral County and Sanders County and the interests of the timber industry and the natural resources that we have that we need to develop, and healthy forests. And so it's the need to represent you people is the reason I'm running again.
All right, thank you. What local organizations and community involvement do you participate in, and what national memberships do you have?
And this one I have a sheet because it gets a little long. But in response to the blood draw, I want to tell you, Mary Jo called me this morning. I'm signed up again, and that will be the start of my 14th gallon. So, that's a challenge to the rest of you. I am a little older than everyone else up here, so I had a little earlier start. But yeah, it'll be the start of 14 gallons. But I'm on the Mineral County and Sanders County's forest collaboratives and working on those forest issues. And I think we've had some great progress lately. We've gotten the Forest Service back in gear and doing a lot more forest management in this area. We've got timber sales. There are more timber sales in the Superior Ranger District than the rest of the Lolo Forest combined. And I think that's because of that work. I'm not the only one. It's we. We have people that go to those meetings and get in gear and try to help the situation. I'm chairman of the Mineral County Resource Advisory Committee, which we take the Title II money that comes back from the Forest Service and work on projects around the county. Projects are submitted and then we decide, put them in categories and which ones are priority to spend that money. Past chairman of the Trinity Lutheran Church in Superior, and it was mentioned I was on the planning board for 48 years. The subdivision west of Alberton here, that was the first and I think only hearing that we actually had on site. There was some controversy and I was chairman of the planning board and I said, let's go on site. And the developer and the people of the community got together, saw the problems, worked out a few solutions to some problem areas. It's still, subdivision is always controversial because some don't want it at all, but by working out the solutions, getting people together, and that's part of what my style is. Let's talk about it, let's work out what's best for everyone if we can. The subdivision on the other end of town, now I know that's taking up some farmland, but people aren't farming anymore much. So that's one of the reasons that one we just had in the planning board a short time ago. I'm in the Mineral County Performing Arts Council, and I'm on the Region 2 Citizens Advisory Committee for Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. We meet about quarterly and come up with solutions or try to come up with some of the ideas for hunting districts, for hunting seasons, and submit some of those ideas onto Helena. I've been in the University Alumni Band for 30 years. I only missed 1 year, and that was the year I went to New Zealand with the rugby team. I'm the Mineral County 4-H Council and involved in fundraising. I don't pay money for chickens like Kirby does, but I've sold about $8,000 worth of Hawaiian shirts for fundraising for the 4-H Council. In the community band, we have a little Dixieland band. We played in Superior a few times last summer, and I helped the high school band when, like graduation and when the band is a little short at games, I'll go play with the band. I was on the Mineral Missoula County Farm Service Agency committee band for 8 years. I was on the Soil Conservation Board for 16 years. I had to drop out when I was elected to the legislature. And I've been the Montana Private Land Public Wildlife Council for 12 years. That's governor appointed in Helena. And then I've had block management hunting on my land for 25 years in the county. So all of my land is open for block management hunting. So, and I'm out of time.
Okay, Denley, here's the last question for this section. What are the most important problems that you see in this office, and how do you plan on solving them?
Well, I know everybody's concerned about private or the property taxes, and we have a real problem there. And it's going to have to be, some of it's going to be have to settled a little bit in Helena. But what happens? Your property tax money goes to Helena. Some is held out for the colleges and some is held out for the school equalization, and then it gets sent back down to the county. So actually most of your property tax dollars are spent, and the reason they keep going up is because the mill levies are passing, and those are paid on the local level. So the property tax really comes back down to, it's something the legislature can't really go in and drop because it's more local issues. Housing, we've got a lot of problems with the housing issue. We've got, what happens, we have a lot of regulations that end up slowing up the progress of housing. You get a land that's bought for a subdivision, or they're planning on putting a development in. By the time the regulations go through and they paid pretty high price for land, and then you pay interest and sit on it for sometimes a half a year or a year before you get all the regulations. So we have to streamline those regulations and we don't want to shortcut them, but we want to make them happen faster so the developers and the builders don't have to pay all that interest. And that should lower some of the housing costs. We need to try and concentrate, instead of always talking about a single family dwelling, maybe try to go duplexes and fourplexes on the same space of land. So you don't have that, you can stretch that land price into 4, divide that by 4, and that could help a little bit. One of the things we're going to be doing back in Helena is the recreation marijuana regulations came at us so fast. We knew we would have to work on those again. So that's going to be one of the topics. We've been working on getting money into technical education. We need to get the electricians, we need to get the plumbers, we need to get the carpenters. So I think the push to get the shop classes going back in school, and then there's some apprentice programs that have started that actually some of the businesses can put some of these younger, eager to learn technicians to work. And we also changed the work comp so they can actually hire them at a younger age to help. And it's not to take away the benefits, it's to actually take away a little of the liability for those companies that are trying to put these people to work. And it actually creates a much better training situation. Access to public lands. Now, Wyoming just had a thing on corner crossings, whether you're trespassing if you jump across a corner. We always have access problems. We're in western Montana, even though we have so much public land, the animals now, a lot of them are on private land. And so we have to keep trying to work on programs to keep that private land open for public hunting and still respect the private property rights. This last session I brought a bill that actually increased some of the fines and penalties for hunting on private property without permission, just because the lawyers or the judges were kind of getting a little lenient, and the ranchers were wanting to shut their property off completely. So we keep working on access, and there are more issues, but I'm out of time.
Thank you, Denley. This concludes our prepared questions that we have. We're going to take a brief intermission. We'll collect the questions that you've written on the note cards, and a few will be selected to ask the candidates after the break. We've got a few questions for each group. We have one that addresses all the candidates, and then I will ask the treasurers to give their 2-minute summary, and then we'll go on with the other questions. So, again, it's only 2 minutes on this one. This first question, this is one that's near and dear to me as well. How will you personally be involved with, and how will you involve our upcoming youth in Mineral County? So we're seeing a lack of youth participating in some of the opportunities within a community. And so, how will you personally be involved with, and how will you involve our upcoming youth in Mineral County? So I'm going to actually give each one of you a chance to respond. We'll start with Mary, and we'll just run down through. And this applies to all the different races going on.
I've been quite involved with the youth since I have 6 kids. And we've been, I've had them in sports. I'm really enjoying the skate park. I think that a lot of kids are enjoying that. As my position, are you talking about in our position?
In your position or as a community
member?
Leader, yeah.
I think that it is very important to get our kids involved. I know firsthand my kids love staring at their phones. And, I can't think of right now specifics. I'm very encouraged for the swim pool to get going, and I've talked to a lot of people about that and have them be able to accomplish that so that they have something to do in the summertime. And then I just think keeping them involved in outdoor activities. And thank you.
Thank you.
When I participate in the band, when we have the community band, and then helping the high school kids when they're short on numbers, to me, I think that I try to do that just to try and give the kids some encouragement and say, this is something you can do the rest of your life. As old as I am, and I'm still in the band, and I think that's part of the reason I do it, is to try and I like to joke with the kids too and have a little bit of fun. The fact that I have no kids, never had any kids in school, it's a little harder to be in contact with the kids, but I go to the sporting events as much as I can, but I think one of the things I do participate in a lot, and that is with the 4-H kids, and I was just at their 4-H council meeting in Potluck. That was about a week ago, and I think that shows the kids too that what they are doing is pretty important, because it was something that I did when I was in high school, and I think that in grade school. So I think that's another part of that encouragement. And then I keep my place open for gopher hunting and big game hunting, and I think that's really important. And I'd love to have parents bring their kids up there and shoot gophers and shoot their first animal, first deer. And I think that's part of that Montana heritage that we're trying to protect too, and get them, not you have to kill every animal, but the ethics of hunting and ask permission and just work with the kids and show that they can be relaxed around adults.
Well, I have 2 kids in the school district, and I have a freshman this year that's going to be driving, God help me.
Yeah.
And she's a girl, and she's blonde, so I'll pray for all of you in Mineral County. But my kids, we've been from a big city their whole entire lives, and so when we decided where we were going to move, Mineral County was the reason they wanted to come, for what we offer, what we can do. My daughter plays all 3 sports, basketball, volleyball. She's about to qualify in districts for shot put and track as a freshman, which is a pretty good accomplishment. My son does little guy wrestling and took 4th in state this year, and those are things I've never been able to do. But working for Walmart all those years that I had to, I never got to see any of their lives. So now it's awesome for me to be able to go to their games and be part of their lives. They're doing livestock this year, like you were just talking about for 4-H. They would have never had an opportunity like that anywhere else we've ever lived. So it's a fun experience for me to get back to my roots, where we can fish and we can do all the fun stuff that kids should learn how to do, like bait their own hook and learn how to change a tire and all those things. And so I go to every one of my kids' event. I'm actually currently almost out of sick and personal time for going to all of my kids' stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about just being here in the county and being around these things that my kids get to grow up with all of the rest of your kids. So thanks.
Well, with us at the Sheriff's Office, I think it's educate. We got to educate people coming up in the schools what our job is, and honestly, how fun it is. Looking at law enforcement, you wouldn't think it's a fun job, but it's very fun, very rewarding. We get a lot of compliments. I get letters that make me teary, Tyler Cheeseman. Stuff like that. Like I said, in the schools, people come up to me, call me Funk. I grew up, people call me Funky R. I think that's very important for the youth to see me as a role model, as I believe they do when they call me Funk. Call me by my last name. They don't have to call me Ryan. They don't have to call me sir. They don't have to call me deputy or sergeant. I think just having that contact with them, having them see me as approachable and see that I enjoy my job. I enjoy helping people, and I honestly care about our youth. Also being involved in the job fair, have a booth, let them put on a vest, let them see handcuffs, let them see the stuff that we can let them see. I think we had Deputy Lindauer, who's my trainee. I think he took some kids through the jail, show them the jail, show them our job, humanize the job for them, show them that we're not here to throw people in jail. We're not here, my little boy, 2.5, Daddy, you gonna go get the bad guys? I mean, he's pumped up about it. Like, he just continually talks. You go get 2 bad guys? And I'm like, buddy, I'm gonna keep us safe. That's my job. Thank you.
All right, Ryan's absolutely correct. The job is fun as a deputy sheriff, as a sergeant, when you're out there on the road. And I learned that back in 1975 as a cadet. We can go and get the scout program started here, introduce these kids to law enforcement, introduce them to dispatching, introduce them as ride-alongs. That will help them explain to their classmates what the job actually entails. It was a blast learning how to do this job in 1975. Kids are kids. Get them away from the iPads, get them away from their cell phones. Let them focus on community involvement. We can do this through deputies as being the leader and through our reserves. We have a lot of people out there who are sworn deputies, part-timers, who would be willing to hop in there and help. You'd be surprised how many people are retired from this job. They all enjoyed it. They'd love to get back into it, especially if they're helping the community and getting the community involved with the sheriff's office.
One of the things that the sheriff and I started talking about very early in our tenure here was putting FTOs, or excuse me, RTOs, or not RTOs, we don't have an academy, school resource officers. Hiring one for the school. They'd split their time among all 3 schools, and we've been talking to the schools about that. They seem excited about it. Our problem is, like everything else, funding those positions, and so we're doing some talking with the schools where they pay a portion, we pay a portion, and kind of share the load. I think getting them exposed to an officer in the school that's there 2 or 3 times a week that they can talk to and see that they're real people is really important. Again, and Gretchen and Ryan both talked about it, there's explorer groups. Let kids start getting involved at a young age with the explorer group. Okay, that.
Now we're going to focus on the House District candidate. There's my second. I lost a question there for a second. Can you explain your opinion of the state administration's choosing not to accept federal food dollars for families? Are you in favor of this? Why or why not?
I can't explain somebody else's thought process on that, really, but I think there are some programs that I know the way legislators look at some of that. Some of those programs have been set up with guidelines that need to be cracked down on a little bit, tightened down a little bit, and I think some are saying that the accountability for the money being spent isn't there. But I think those programs, some of the programs, they are needed because that's the meals. That's where the kids get to eat. Government programs are tough because there's that line that says we're taking everything from the federal government and we have strings attached to that. But you can't just all of a sudden chop things off. You end up with more problems by doing that. So I think there's ways of maybe changing some of the regulations on that and tighten things down, but you can't just chop it off.
Thank you, Denley. And the last question we have is, please explain your stance on the need for mental health services, both in Minot County and at Montana State Hospital. What do we need, and how can we count on you to vote for or against?
We need programs. We've in the past, sometimes what they've had is thrown money at a problem, and the money hasn't always set up the guidelines. Here again, it goes back to guidelines, setting up some criteria so that you know you're getting results. Set up some, maybe set up, what should I say, some sort of goals so that you know you're getting a response back from that money. Your money is just not being ear tagged and sent in and not hiring the right people. It gets to be, there's getting to be more and more in need of the mental health counseling and the right people. But we had kind of a bad reputation about 3-4 years ago, and I think the idea is to try and clean that up and set some better standards and make sure you have maybe a few people more out in the field than the ones sitting in the office. And I think that's where part of that problem. So you get more of that accountability right out where they're supposed to be meeting the people and doing the job. Overhead doesn't always solve a problem. You have to have the right overhead, the right people, and that's where we've been going a little bit weak in the last few years.
Thank you, Denley. That concludes the 2-minute responses that we have for you. I'm going to give an opportunity for Mary and Jill to give 2 minutes, just closing statements that they'd like to give. Mary, will you go ahead and get started?
So we don't have any
What's that?
We don't have any questions.
No.
So I think I feel that I have a lot of experience with the school district and being involved in the county courthouse, all the offices on the second floor. I am very compassionate towards people. I jump in and try and solve everything for them so that they're happy to come back and see us again. I have the experience. I have been in the office working both sides of that, from the school district standpoint and then from the treasurer's. And I am very thankful to be where I'm at and have the different jobs that I've had that have gotten me to where I'm at. I thoroughly enjoy this job, and I'm very committed to this community, and I'm excited. Thank you.
Overall, I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity. I think the qualifications and what we've talked about tonight is clear, and in all these forums. The Q&A and the Mineral Independent, I think, did a really good job of helping all of us candidates get some of our stuff out there and some of our experience. Overall, for me, the county budget compared to a Walmart $80 million budget is something that I know that I can handle, and I would really like to make sure that you guys choose the most experienced person based on all of that. So, thanks.
Thank you, Mary and Jill. We're actually going to move to the sheriff's candidates, so we're going to go in the opposite order. So we'll start with Wayne with these, and we'll move the other direction. The first question, Wayne, and again, this is just 2-minute responses. What are a few quality traits you want to see in an officer that works for you?
Well, for me, what I want to see is integrity. I want to see somebody that's confident in who they are and what they're doing. Of course, intelligence is a key, because you can get out there and talk with people who may not be at your same level, but you can figure out where they're coming from and what they're doing. For me, people who are willing to give their time out there and enjoy the job will really make a difference for everybody. It's almost, I don't want to say like a drug, but they get addicted to it, and they get out there and they work. So again, integrity, honesty, and a good work ethic, I think, are the number 3 I'd have to say. Thank you.
I almost lost my chair. And every deputy, every police officer, you want their integrity to be unquestioned. If their integrity is questioned, you lose cases in court. So we need that person to have high ethical standards. We need that person to be able to ask questions. I also want the person who will tell me, no, you're wrong, Sheriff, and not afraid to confront me on that. Because I can be wrong. I've been wrong in the past. And I don't want to go out into Mineral County having the wrong information. So I expect my employees to challenge me. So they have to have enough oomph to be able to stand up to me. And sometimes that's hard to do because I don't back down easily. But show me that you know your stuff. And if you don't know your stuff, ask for help. So I'm looking for that person who will ask for help, who has high standards, and who will be there for Mineral County. Thank you.
Gosh, really, I thought these guys were talking about me. But on a positive thing, integrity, being ethical, loyalty, and my thing is community. Those are all things. I want somebody working for me that wants to be in the community, that wants to improve the community and be out there. That's a deputy sheriff to me. That's a sheriff to me. That's somebody who's going to work for the Mineral County Sheriff's Office. Is they're going to be involved in their community. Thank you.
All right, Wayne. How much training have or do they need to have Mineral County Sheriff deputies in domestic violence, elder abuse, and homicide?
Well, domestic violence, they get a fairly good amount of training at the academy and when they're working out in the field. We're very fortunate. We don't see many cases of homicide in Mineral County, and we hope to keep it that way. And when those kind of cases come up, we have state agencies that will come in and help us. We had one right after we got here where it was 2 children and the guy killed himself. We called DCI, they came in, sent an investigator. We reached out to Missoula County, they sent coroners, and we handled the case that way. So, and elder abuse is a big one. It's up and growing, and it's not one that's real mainstream. That they don't get a whole lot of training in seeing it, so it falls to the deputies out in the street when they come into situations and they're getting phone calls to ask questions. And again, said this before, county attorney is a friend of ours, and if you have questions, reach out to them and they'll help with guidance as well.
Gretchen, can you repeat the question?
Domestic violence, elder abuse, and homicide?
Yeah, how much training, to your knowledge, does the Mineral County have or need to have?
I believe that you need as much training as you can absorb. And it really doesn't matter the topic. Domestic violence should be an ongoing training. You need to be able to identify the aggressor and the one who's so timid that they're not going to say a word to you. They're just going to remain deadpan. You need to learn how to read people. So they may not be going for domestic violence education. They may be going for what was it that I used to do? They may be going for, like, when I was in SRT interrogation, I had to learn how to read people. And that's very important, to read people. Are you lying to me or are you not lying to me? Elder abuse. We had a lot of that in Florida. It's coming here. This is becoming a bedroom community. You don't abuse your elders. You need to recognize, and this is the one group of people who stand up even less than the domestic violence people. For a parent to say, oh, my son or daughter abused me, boy, that's a big step. It's very hard for them to do. We need to take it out of their hands, get the training, and recognize that they are in a constant abusive situation. Homicide, it's an investigation. Everyone needs to learn how to do an investigation, read people, and be very aggressive in solving these crimes. Homicide, by the way, is one of the most solved crimes. Bank robberies above that. But it's the lower crimes are harder to solve than a homicide. But you have to be able to collect evidence, so your training has to go on and on. It doesn't stop with the academy. It doesn't stop with, I'm a deputy sheriff and I've gone to X amount of schools. You have to continue your training, and that's what I did. I continued my training, and I'll expect the deputies to do that too. Thank you, Mary Jo. Bye.
Ready, Mary Jo? Okay, I think looking at these as a totality is domestic violence, could be elder abuse, domestic violence ultimately turns into homicide. With working here in a small agency, DCI gets called in for most of our large scale investigations. As everybody knows, we don't have the manpower to days and weeks on end to do investigations. So we bring in partners in helping us solve crimes. I think one of the biggest things is that we see a lot. Under Sheriff Cashman explained the situation, and I think also what lacks in this job, and I about fell on my chair, is mental health for the deputies, because we can't unsee this stuff, guys. And I sometimes think I'm the big bad cop, like I can handle anything. But let me tell you, I've seen some stuff that'll probably make most people in this room not ever sleep. And so I think being sheriff is you need to look at the mental health for your deputies. And I wanted to express that over the last couple, but I just didn't have the chance. So I'm going to go back with domestic violences. We have 2 crime victim advocates who work diligently and hardworking and long hours for the county. They have a grant program for 2 deputies to have certifications with Continue Ed. Those deputies will be 1 on each shift. And those deputies will help our new recruits and our recruits that don't have the training maybe look at the stuff that normal deputies are going to miss. They're going to have specific training, and that's from the crime victim advocates. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Wayne, we're back to you for the last question for the 2-minute response. This one doesn't stack up quite as much as it used to, but if your department received $1 million grant to use however you wanted, what would you spend it on?
Wow, $1 million wish list. We have had large sums of money come into Mineral County recently. We got our share of the first round of COVID monies, which was almost $400,000. So for me, if $1 million fell out of the sky, first thing on the agenda would be the radio system, addressing the communication issues within the county. This is a tough place geographically. You get up on the west end and you can't get cell phone or radio. And when I was out with a jackknife truck right at the very end of a sharp turn, and here I am sitting there trying to warn oncoming traffic. I couldn't get on the radio to let somebody know it was there. Couldn't get on the radio to have high patrol get to me. I had to leave the scene, drive up the road 4 or 5 miles to get help for this. So if I have to put them in order, definitely the radios. Thank you.
I agree with the radio system. Always will be. Communication's very, very important. But the other thing I would do is raise the deputy salary. Right now, they are making a small wage for a deputy sheriff. So they need to, if $1 million fell out of the sky, really know exactly what I would do, but I know the deputies would be on the top. Their equipment would also have to be upgraded. The sheriff's office itself needs to be improved, and I'm talking about the physical location of it. I would really have to think about how I would arrange that in order. The equipments, the radios, the cars, $1 million, you'd really have to think about. I'd love to raise my salary $1 million, but that won't happen. I would love to be able to start that cadet program that we were talking about. I'd love to be able to send them off to school. Priorities are get the salary so we can get more deputies, we can train them on Mineral County time, and we can better our evidence handling and our evidence room and our presentation for courtroom presentation once we make an arrest. We need to, the whole system needs to be upgraded a small amount at a time, 1 inch at a time.
Ready, Mary Jo? I'm ready. Okay, Under Sheriff Cashman took mine. Communication. Radios. I hate to use the word suck, but they suck. We go out, I mean, for instance, from Alberton all the way to the 61, multiple times within the last month, you can't hear a car radio. That's pretty scary. That probably scare my wife more than most. So radios are the biggest thing. However, I think when radios keep getting brought up and brought up and brought up, it's per se beating a dead horse. And this isn't, I'm not doing anything, saying anything against Wayne. However, the sheriff says these radios have been this way since 1999. We got to get out of that way of thinking. 1999? Like, this is 2022, guys. We need to ensure the safety of not only the deputies, but all first responders. So that's number one. If $1 million fell in the sky, I'd catch it. I'm not going to give myself a raise, because for the deputies to get a raise, currently, I would have to get a raise, and I'm not going to take a raise. So, radios, number one, and that'll probably take most of $1 million, so thank you.
All right, that concludes tonight's forum, all the questions that we have. I want on behalf of the community, thank everybody for participating and staying informed. All of the candidates for participating and sharing their thoughts and visions and information. Definitely thank Mary Jo Berry and McGowan, Mary Furlong for videotaping and getting those posted. I know the online views have been pretty high for this. We've had a lot of people come up and say that they watched it online. We also want to thank Superior High School, St. Regis Senior Center, Alberton High School, Hazel Cromwell, Darlow's, George Bailey, Monty Turner for supporting all three forums. I believe that's it.
Jackie.
Pardon?
Jackie.
Oh, Jackie, sorry, Jackie. Participating in the introduction to Media Storm. With that, this is important to me. This is a great way for me to be involved in the state of forum. I want to put the challenge out there, maybe not the blood challenge. I do get blood. It's one of the toughest things I do, but I do get blood. But I also want to challenge you to look for youth and young people in the community to participate in service. We have a lot of nonprofits that do a lot of good in this community. We have a lot of boards and councils and ways to be involved. And right now we do have a shortfall with young people being involved. So I know everybody is busy. I know a lot of our community consists of teachers and police officers and people that are putting in loads of time, but just that one extra community for each person would be very helpful. So with that, Dan, did you have something?
I did. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, but especially thank you to Andy Drew.
Andy Drew.